pit right off their heads.
It would quite literally be that, because looking at the standings, as soon as you hear a team hasn't lost yet, you think, oh, no way they aren't going to win everything. Then no other team can match that record. Well, sure, they might not match the record. In fact, the two teams would both be sat at 6 wins and 1 loss if today goes the way of Cyclops. And on the head-to-head basis, Cyclops will take it, assuming Cyclops can win in normal time. They need to win 7 rounds to whatever it is that Cloud9 end up on. Any other outcome, Cloud9 still hold on to number 1. Let's get into the ban zone. Nomad, the first one to be taken away, looking to, I suppose, enable and free up a bit more roam play here, a bit more disruptive play from both sides, Ace.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing. Let's get rid of the Nomad. Let's not have those flanks shut down too tightly. We want to see some of those explosive plays, big moments. We want to see players just crouch walking their way into absolute mayhem when they manage to catch the other team unawares. Ying will go out as well and be joined by Melusi. So this is all stacking up for aggression right now, Des. No Banshees to slow people down, no air jabs to knock them off their feet. This could be a real humdinger. Let's go.
Just as you think you might see a bunch of aggression coming out, you ban away arguably the greatest roamer that we have in the game at the moment. I mean, seeing Melusi taken away, I think Melusi and Jaeger, if you said to me current roamers, I'd be like Melusi, Jaeger. Like, hands down, without even thinking about it. Both of them are removed from the table here. 2 linchpin defensive operators that we have seen, not just all season long here in APAC, but around the world, have been removed. This is going to get spicy, because things like the Mirror that we've seen be banned away so many times, the Wamai that we've seen banned away from time to time as well, now also available for teams to play.
Well, the thing that I often ask for when we get that Jaeger ban, Des, and it's something that is sort of rarely delivered on, is let's, especially with Melusi as well, no Banshees, let's start seeing some quick aggression towards site. Get in there and mix things up, because of course, Wamai's magnetic discs, they develop over time. So the quicker that you get in there, the less you will need to burn out those utility catchers. You can get in there, you can put your nades to use straight away. There's no Aruni on site, so there are no Surya gates there to shut down that throne utility. This is just screaming, get in there and start launching those projectiles into site and just make the defenders feel like they are pressured from minute 1.
You should be seeing Wamai in pretty much every single round of this game. That nade prevention is going to be so critical, but like you say, the quicker teams are, the less of those magnets are going to exist, the more opportunity there is for some damage. And knowing that on the downstairs site, it's very, very common to hold this elbow area where you've currently got the smoke setting up of Irrigator. Normally what you then need is a bunch of magnets stacked up, thank you very much, Medic, stacked up down here towards elbow or above the doorway coming in for construction. That then leaves other areas a little bit bare though, so you might just see grenades come singing through on this map. Admittedly, in this round, there are only 2, as it's the Maverick, and here's Cadarada looking to go a little bit aggressive. Is that really the operator you want to be going aggressive with here, Ace? I don't think so.
Not when you've not got a Jaeger on the board and those 3 ADSs to protect you, Des. It is very important that Wamai survives for as long as possible here, because they need the ability to stop that throne utility raining in. I'm particularly looking at the side of Nova with 2 nades in hand. It's going to be very important what that Maverick can bring to bear inside of the round. So early on, we have got the drones raining in right now. I think Cloud9 are going to be comfortable that meeting is clear. Shaiol is available and ready, active, pushing down those rear stairs. He's just looking to get control and start to put some pressure onto Pillar. Meanwhile, NB Taylor opens up. It's a nice angle. You'll always catch somebody in ranked. If you want to take that one away with you, enjoy. Open up the top of Armory Corridor. You can look all the way down to the bottom of Laundry Stairs. You can really catch out some defenders in the rotate, but also support your side in pushing down. So we could well see attention paid to multiple sides here, Des. It could become like a vice for Cyclops.
I like how we got the IQ coming out, because the criticism leveraged towards APAC a few times this season especially is that we don't ever really see them picking up the IQ, especially with things like the Wamai and the Jaeger stat coming in, Echo becoming quite popular. Valkyrie, when she's available, is normally always an insta-pick. Not in this round, clearly, but I'm glad that C9 have kind of said, well, let's get someone on the IQ, bring along the good gun that we want to be able to use here, and just worry about utility in case there is going to be a Valkyrie or an Echo, because that's what I think we alluded to it earlier on the desk as well, or maybe actually it was in the first game of the day on the cast. I said the number of times that we've seen Echoes interrupt plants this season probably succeeds all that we saw in the entirety of last year.
We just saw the danger there of those throwable utility. Now, the nade was just not quite cooked enough. Had it been as perfectly cooked as a laxing steak, Des, it might well have got the kill on Pillars, but it was just a second late in exploding and allowed the man to escape. Now, Shayol gets one onto Anaton, and this is going all in the favour of the attackers. However, they've got themselves 4 versus 1 now. Suzuki just locked into the corridor. He's got the Vector. He's going to try to put bullets down. Absolutely not. Challenged from 2 angles. And that's going to be round 1 to Cloud9. And boy, did they play that well.
So much of that was off the back of Envy come pushing in from construction as well. He steps inside blue, found 2 kills. I believe 1 inside a pillar, the other at the bottom of elbow. And as soon as those 2 power positions there, we say, are cleared out, suddenly as the defenders, you have no control over supply. Envy has then assumed control of elbow and is looking straight across into freezer, so that door is being threatened as well. There were just so many things that opened up off the back of that one single play, and sure, it took a bit of time to really come to light, but once it happened, there was no stopping the C9 train. We're seeing Gatorada potentially bring along the Valkyrie, by the way. I mentioned it before. Nope, 6 picked out. They're constantly baiting it, I think, to keep on making them think they need the IQ, even though ultimately they choose not to bring it along.
Nope, switching information for information there. So Mozzie's going to come along, try and grab a couple of those drones. Now, we all know the value of Valkyrie. She's had an extremely high ban rate so far, which is absolutely no surprise whatsoever. Those black eye cams can be very pesky, can be a nightmare. But Envy Taylor, with the IQ gadget in hand, should have been reasonably capable of dealing with them. So the alternative is Mozzie. Now, he serves 2 purposes. You may be forgiven for thinking that his immediate and primary purpose is to capture drones and be able to use them. And it is certainly a great switcheroo of the information game, taking those drones directly from the attackers and using them for yourself. But at this level, generally what we see Mozzie used for as a primary function is area denial of drones. It's about stopping drones getting into areas. You would expect the attackers to stop short of that sound and visual cue that you get when you're approaching a Mozzie pest with a drone. And even when they don't and they get captured, they usually have somebody very close behind able to just shoot the drone out so that the Mozzie isn't able to use it. So it is much more about preventing drones getting into an area and making it easier for the roamers, making the attackers have to face check absolutely everything.
I like the initial aggression coming out of Cyclops in terms of the roam. You touched on the Mozzie, holding on to those pests for the most part. He dropped 1 down in shower corridor, but the other 2 stay in the back pocket for when he decides, right, this is where they're coming from, so that's where I'm going to hunker down with these pests. But you also had a player holding like this Black Ray inside of Armory, but why on earth you'd stand over the hatch like that? I'm not too sure, and they pay the price pretty quickly, but MB's also shut down. The big player in the last round that really got things moving is shot off nice and early there. Thank you very much for highlighting the angle for us there, Medics, as well. Brings things into a 4 versus 4, so a nice and explosive opening 60 seconds.
Shayol just pushing aggressively into Trophy there, got himself established, can start looking at potentially supporting a push towards opening that attic wall. It just depends whether there are attackers aggressing from the far side of attic as well, which it doesn't look like there is at the minute. It's all the pressure coming towards Master and going into through the closet into the games room. Now there's angles being held, as we can see. Anaton, Suzuki, Ayagator all looking to just get angles through attic and Kid's bedroom door onto that breach. Now out come the smoke canisters. This is your opportunity. Nova, he doesn't want to push in there just yet, and that could be some utility wasted there as the smoke dissipates and is not going to be able to provide cover for a late round push into sight. A big question mark though, as we have Gatorada moving underneath. Can he hit them on the flank?
We've seen so many big flanks in the last game as well. Just players coming up out of nowhere.
Oh!
First game on Villa was massive, but the long angle comes out and it's an absolute flurry of kills as the kill feed goes blue and orange. And like that, 2 versus 2, the round has descended from being pretty much 10 men left alive to almost no one. A 1 versus 2 for Static, and this round's looking a little bit harder for Cloud9. Static, what a swing! Does he get a second?
No!
Yes, he does! Static with a massive flick from one to the other, left to right to left. It's going to secure the round for Cloud9, but my God, if anyone had Cloud9 still down to win that round, I'd like to know where on earth you're getting your ideas from.
Static certainly not living up to his name there, just bursting in with a absolute just crescendo of energy at the end of the round there and finding himself 2 on the pistol. Unbelievable play from him, and that is the sort of hero play that it's going to take to come out and win this game. This is what we are looking at, the 2 best teams in the region, and and we want to see who is the biggest and baddest. And right now, that is Static. What a massive play from him. Cloud9, they are 2-0 up coming into round 3. We're going to be heading back to Laundry. CYCLOPS decide that they're going to try their hand back down in the basement again, but Des, it was a convincing win for Cloud9 downstairs. This is not turning out to be any walk in the park for CYCLOPS.
I mean, you had MV in round 1 being the big impact player, then Static's gone and done just that. It's one of those games. And the one thing about CYCLOPS that always kind of... When I think of CYCLOPS as a team, I don't think of like, oh, Anderson, huge player, or Gatorada, huge player, for example. No individual player really stands out. You might argue Black Ray this stage has had a pretty good time, but when I think about who can stand up and make these hero plays, I don't really know who stacks up against the likes of MB Taylor or Shyle normally, or Nova, who's had an incredible season. I always think about the stars of Cloud9 and worry where that's going to come from on the other side. And look at this flick. A little bit misplaced. We'll give him that one. Maybe on a different day, he loses that 1 versus 2. But the timing, the flick, the step around, the win of the 1 versus 2 could be crucial for Cloud9 as this game progresses.
Absolutely beautiful. Now, heading into round 3, as I say, we are downstairs again. The attackers are approaching the building quickly, and it's no wonder that C9 are pepped up at this point and ready to go. They certainly have their energy with them, and they are careening into CYCLOPS, looking to get into the top floor of the big tower there to start pushing down and clearing out towards rear stage. We saw some joy coming in from there last time, managing to clear out pillars, and that was where the majority of the attacking push came from. Now, the question is, how have CYCLOPS set themselves up differently? What are they going to do to counter this C9 push? Because last time, quite frankly, they were nowhere near defending this, and we can see that the setup is actually largely the same. We've got Gatorada playing down there around Shaiko's spot, just deploying those magnets there. He's being supportive from pillars as well. He's just looking to pressure onto the hatch should it be opened. He wants his line of sight to be able to try and take that vertical challenge. But for me, I don't really see anything desperately different coming out from CYCLOPS here, and we have to remember just how decisive that round 1 win was.
They probably as a team have sat back after round 1 and said, right, guys, what went wrong there? And someone goes, well, MV just pushed into blue and killed 2 of us. And they said, right, okay, is that something we can prevent? They said, yes. Okay, cool. Nothing needs to change. Let's go and try and make the same play again. And it is going to be that reliance on being able to hold blue for a little bit longer here and not give up a 2K in the process of it falling apart, I think. But on the side of Cloud9, they don't need to rush this. There's still 1 minute and 20 to go here. It's about the positioning here. It's about knowing where the play is going to come from. And by the looks of it, it's going to be a bit of a late laundry take. They have got some pressure up on the north, but it's definitely not the main point of attack. So rather than Cloud9 saying, look, we'll give you time to course correct, we're just going to change our attack entirely, it's going to be a freezer and laundry play.
Static gets himself up on top of the boxes there. The nades start flying in. He doesn't get any joy in towards laundry for the time being, but we can see that the defenders here are just being absolutely pestered by those throwables, and it's no surprise with Jaeger gone. Gatorada will be doing everything he can on the Wamai to get the magnetic discs out there and give some support. Anaton with a great headshot onto MV Taylor, doubles down with one onto Nova inside a freezer, puts the man on ice as he tries to push forward. Gatorada joins in the party with a kill onto Shyle. This is all going to CYCLOPS. I don't know what's happened, Des. It was a landslide to Cloud9 in round 1. It's a landslide to CYCLOPS in round 3. They're on the board, and we have got a match.
Just got to win your ones, boys. We'll say it until the cows come home on this front as well, that Siege is one of those wonderful games that there are so many layers of depth to it in terms of strategies, where you choose to attack from, what intel you're getting from drones and cameras and operator lineups. You can go on for days. But when you boil the game down to its rawest form, it is just an FPS game. You can have all the advantages in the world. If you don't hit your shots, you are going to lose the round. And that is exactly what happened there, with some miracle play coming out of Anaton. Sat just inside of the cubby, I believe, with that double spray across, one onto MV, turns onto Static, gets him as well. That just shuts down and takes the wind out of Cloud9 sails entirely. And you saw the outcome from there. Cloud9 now going back over to what we've seen them employ a couple of times this season, the Thinker being brought along in the lineup.
We'll see what impact that has. Of course, a number of important elements to remember about Thinker. She can activate nanobots for the entire team. That was basically gives them a global buff. It reduces their recoil, and it also gives some additional health as well. It can pick up downed enemies, but it does come at a cost. If you find yourself, I'm looking particularly at Irrigator here, an important counter is smoke. If you move through those Toxic Babe canisters, you will take a lot of extra damage. damage, as the theory being the increased sort of heart rate and metabolism that your body's undergoing through the use of the nanobots does actually mean that you ingest and take damage from that smoke a lot quicker. So need to be careful about the use of those boosts from the Thinker.
See how much she can pull off here then. Let's see how things progress though. We are back upstairs again as we were in round number 2. That one was Static's big clutch time coming in through game. So again, the question now falls to Cloud9 is, do we go for a similar push again? Or do we spice things up a little bit and look to change around where we come from? Do we go for APAC? Do we look for a big window play? I'm not sure, but with the IQ starting across to the west, that could definitely prove to be the play.
Shayol moving very quickly into Armory. Absolutely no messing about here. Opens up a long line of sight through that master wall and door through into Trophy. That's going to give a little bit of security that he can move in there, and that is exactly what he does. No hesitation whatsoever at taking that map control, and that's what I love from Cloud9 so far here. They have not been scared about getting into the map, and as I say, that may come with the Jaeger ban and the Malusi ban. It just frees you up a little bit to play more aggressively and quickly. Now then, Gatorada is over there in small tower on the Valkyrie. Is Envy Taylor aware, or could he get caught out here? Surely he hears the barricade. Surely he catches the knocking of the boards across the window, but it doesn't appear so, Des. It looks like Envy Taylor's just very focused on that double window, but Gatorada, he's going to think better of it. He's going to dip away. There is always an opportunity for a run out and a nitro here, but you can't really do it from that door. You've got to be doing it from the showers window if you want to hit that nitro up onto the half roof there.
I get the feeling actually hitting the door downstairs is what alarmed him rather than the window itself being knocked. But now there is the idea as to what's going on. He's got options to play with, Gatto, but if he goes for a jump out here, you've got to think about a C4 player is probably the one to look towards. It's always so nerve-wracking seeing two players pass each other so closely, like two ships in the night, never quite making contact and only just about barely seeing each other or being aware of the other's presence. But for Cloud9, it's going to be a push into game. Here comes the Thinkaboo. Smoke is straight out in that one, but sadly Anderson manages to down Nova, who had the diffuser in hand. Looks like Cloud9 are going to have to rethink this one. They've got 60 seconds, but a second kill comes out as they peek quite aggressively. Now Static's going to find one in Zulu as Blackberry was rotating his way through. 4 versus 3. Cloud9 have got time to course correct, but I was going to say it's at a numbers disadvantage, Ace.
3 versus 3 as we head into the final 45 seconds then. Shayol just looking to move into sight, gets himself established in games and can pressure. Envy Taylor pressures Anaton with a headshot. Now then the challenge on the white stairs, but it's badly timed for Shayol as Gatorada steps up and takes the kill. Suzuki doubling down as well, and all of a sudden we find Static once again in a 1 versus 2. He's on the Ash. We saw him do it last time. He was moving in through Master Closet. This time it's going to have to be the white stairs. He doesn't have time to rotate. 17 seconds. He looks to find one. There's one hard left. Can he find them? Now CYCLOPS just bedding themselves down as best they can, looking to survive. 1 versus 1. He can't do it again. Surely not. 5 seconds left to go. It's all on Static. Pushes in. No, Gatorada says not this time. And he puts the man down as he just retreats into Attic and perfectly creates the space that he needs to win that 1v1. Very important round for CYCLOPS.
It's definitely not going to happen again. They're screaming there. You saw the pings coming through at the last second from the Valk cams as well. They had full awareness of the plan, and no doubt there was screaming of he's pushing. Just step to the left, spray a few bullets, and you're guaranteed to hit him. If Static had done a 1v2 again, I swear to God I would have lost it. I'm not going to say I'm glad that he lost because it would have been exciting, but at least for CAG it shows a bit of stability that they're not going to give away all of those clutch situations for the other team. It does bring things even at 2 apiece as well, which again goes to show there is absolutely a game on our hands.
This really is a game. This is exactly what we wanted out of this one. For me, let's take this one down to the wire. Let's see it go all the way, and let's just see this pressure cooker boil over as we get further and further into the game. Round 5, we're going to be heading to kitchen and dining this time around. 2 more defensive rounds for CYCLOPS to show us what they've got and to try and step up here and take an advantage over Cloud9. But a 3-all split would not surprise me in the slightest. You can see Gatorada there just very aware of the potential for a basement push early on, and then up the freezer stairs to pop up and just hit the defenders on the flank. So he's going to deploy the services of that proximity mine. He's got Black Ray playing inside of security, and this is quite a well spread out defense here. We've got the top floor hold that we would expect as well. Suzuki just opening up those vertical angles with the Aruni punchers onto the floor, and there's going to be some important jobs for Cloud9 here, but first and foremost is going to be getting into the top floor and shutting down Kids Dorms. It can be a linchpin of this defense.
You kind of have your options here in where you attack, right? And that you can look for that dining push, or you can go for a kitchen one. But both, as you say, do require generally to have control of the top floor and to worry about what's going on in kids and dorms upstairs. And at least on the side of Cloud9, I imagine starting out from this north side, it is going to be that kind of attic push potentially coming in. Or with Harper actually being inside a meeting with a hard breach in hand, of course, the exothermics, maybe they're just looking for this wall and saying, you know what, get kitchen open. We just go for it from there.
Harper in there and playing the exothermic charge immediately. He's looking to get that open, but the mute jammer will take its toll with little animation of the electrical crackles across the surface of the gadget there, just showing us that it is blocked in for the time being. And with Thatcher not on the board here, it's a surprising choice for the attackers, because Thatcher, of course, extremely powerful, usually banned out, is available here as the two bans were Nomad and Ying, but they maybe ruin that time now. There could be a nade going in through the drone hole, which will clear out the mute jammer perfectly. There's always a way around in Siege. That's the way that I love to see it done, and they get that wall open. So unusual pressure coming in from the meeting and kitchen side particular here, and it could well go some way towards dealing with the necessity to go in and clear out the top floor, because generally that is used to open angles over towards the dining side.
They're still looking to take some top floor control here, so they've got their kind of entry point open. The breach has been established. That's where they want to go for a plant, I imagine, between the box that exists just inside of the side as well. But it means this top floor control, which Static has currently got, so the defenders can't make use of the vertical holes they opened up earlier on to spray down onto the planter as he goes for it. That's what we're kind of waiting for Cloud9 to establish right now, and you can see him slowly starting to work it out. But Anderton's still contesting Zulu, so they can't go pushing up white. They've got control of Attic, but that's about it. Envy's going to have to be a difference maker here, because he's got two in very close proximity, and he can really put a dent in the plans of CYCLOPS.
45 seconds left to go, and Static is looking to move himself into Kids Dorms. He's going to have to do that, as you say, Des, before they go for the plant, because Gatarada is just trying to sit on the top of this vertically. It's not an easy shot for him to make, but Gator's going to find Envy, and as you said, that was an important point, and he's lost that fight now. Static finds himself pinched in between two. He's very likely to lose this gunfight one way or another. He can't challenge both at the same time. He goes for one, finds one, but shut down perfectly in the crossfire by Suzuki. Gator with a third on the round. Black Ray finishes it up, and CYCLOPS, they take themselves the lead for the first time here in what was another good defense, this time of kitchen and dining.
It's another one of those again where, with only Static being the only one looking to aggress upstairs, after admittedly two had already died, they were in a spot where for CYCLOPS it was well, we can now stick two people to each man on the other side. This is easy enough for us now. We've got no real concerns here. Have a little bit of a tactical timeout coming in here for a second too, so we'll have a good chat while that's on the go. Understand why they've had this tactical timeout called through. Now, they want to make sure they're getting at least one more round in this half, likely because they know that once they get onto defense, they'll feel a lot more confident. They aren't going to need the timeout again then. So a bold pick. Let's hope it pays off.
It's just about getting the momentum back now. Just break the stride of CYCLOPS, who, let's not forget, have had 3 rounds back-to-back, winning 3, 4, and 5. So the last thing Cloud9 want to do is move into the second half of this game, having lost 4 rounds, and then facing a CYCLOPS that are just buoyed with confidence and momentum at that stage. So, yeah, I think it's a good time for that tactical timeout, just to reassess things here now. If we remember, round 1, we saw Laundry and Supply, and Cloud9, they were able to just wash over CYCLOPS. There's very little they could do, but great adaptation from CYCLOPS. They came in. They, in a way, did a lot of things very similar. They still had the same positioning, but they just seemed to play a little bit more aggressively. They got up in the faces of Cloud9. They were well prepared for the potential alternative of a freezer push. They were able to find the kills and really shut them down, and I think that's something that they need to continue here. This has been a high-paced, high-stakes game so far, and it seems that the aggressor is often coming out on top, and I'm sure CYCLOPS will want that to be them again. So the question is, where will the battleground come? Will it be in Bunker and rear stage, or will it be Laundry and Freezer again? And can CYCLOPS pick correctly?
I think you said the key words, the magic words there yourself, Ace. Well prepared is how I described them in the previous iteration of the downstairs defense. They were just ready. And as soon as Cloud9 came swinging through Laundry, it was Envy Taylor first, and then I believe Static off inside of Freezer to the right-hand side. There was 2 kills flying the way of CYCLOPS because they weren't caught off guard like they were in round 1 by Envy suddenly bursting inside of construction. The big difference for me for Cloud9, though, is they do have that Finca, that extra 20 HP, the more steady ADS, for example. That should help them win those gunfights that maybe are a little bit more 50-50. It's definitely trying to swing things in their favor here and give them the advantage when it comes to the push. We'll see how that comes down to it, though, once the teams start going fist for fist.
1 minute in and the droning is going ahead full force here before the entry players start to move in. Harper's going to look to get inside of meeting and get that hatch open to give some pressure from Electrical, try and move people around, particularly Gatterada playing on pillar. That's exactly what Harper begins to do. Looks like he's going to go and take that laundry hatch as well. So once again, we could just see pressure coming in from multiple sides, and this looks much more reminiscent of the round 1 attack from CYCLOPS than it does from Cloud9 than it does the round 3 where they tried to push in through the freezer. They seem to have pretty much foregone that at this point, and they're going to look to get a pinch developed from rear stage and from laundry.
Felt like a team pinging session there onto the actual bomb itself, just highlighting the angles maybe they could see. I'm not too sure, or having a bit of fun. I was going to say for CYCLOPS, they had 3 members all pressed down really far south as if there was going to be a laundry and freezer setup, but that has changed now that they've rotated everything north. They've even had that last reinforcement that was in the back pocket committed towards the single wall that looks towards the big tower stairs. Interesting adaptation here from CYCLOPS, and now they've even rotated 2 into blue. They are ready for the aggressive push to come in here from, I believe it's Static, yeah it is, who's hanging outside of the doorway.
Black Ray and Gatterada right now are like rocks being battered by the tide as the pressure starts to mount down the rear stage stairs. They have to hold on, they have to survive, and one does not manage as Gatterada shut down by Nova. Shio gets Irrigator, Black Ray goes, and this is looking like round 1 all over again, Des. Cloud9, they are coming in and they are washing over CYCLOPS, who are just attempting to hold them back. A torrent with a bucket right now. They are leaking and leaking fast, but Anaton, he manages to get himself 1 kill. Headshot onto Static. Nova is able to get into that default plant spot, and Shiol shuts down Anaton as he tries to make a challenge. A second for him as Suzuki goes by the bye, and that is round 4 Cloud9, leveling things up 3-3 at the half, and this could not be a better game, Des. This was everything we dreamt of between these two.
You know they were all just screaming at Envy. Hit the juice, old man! They needed that extra ADS stability. They needed a 20 HP bonus because they were just going all out there with both Envy and Static taking control of blue, collecting 2 kills incredibly quickly, and then Shile pushing his way down big tower stairs. A really good, clean execute from Cloud9, helped along, no doubt, by the Finca. 3-3 at the half. Could we ask for a more even game? Let's see then what CYCLOPS have got up their sleeves for us. For a second, it looked like a Glass was going to come along with the smokes that come away from the Capital, will always be incredibly impactful and hard to deal with. So much so that it may have baited Cloud9 into a swap here. Did they go for the Warden? No, they're going to stick. They're not going to twist. A 6th pick into a 6th pick of a Kaid. They've decided, you know, they're going to 6th pick that one away, and they have guessed correctly.
The old Kaid switch to the Kaid, double down on those Electroclaws and make sure that they can hold on to those hatches. Now then, we've still got no Thatcher being brought along. Not essential, but especially when you're going up against operators like the Kaid, it would be potentially useful. Legion as well to clear out those goo mines. We've got Mute. There's all sorts of electrical gadgets that Thatcher could be helping out with here now. Black Ray does bring the twitch, but you've got to keep those shock drones alive. They can often, at this level of play, be very easily picked up by the defenders. It's just a quick flick, 1 shot, and they are down now. We've just got a little vertical angle being covered onto, I'm not 100% sure where there, because there is no reinforcement that Electroclaw is going to impact onto yet. We may see it come.
Question mark?
Yet, question mark. We may see Attic reinforced. We may see the Attic hatch reinforced. I'm not 100% sure, but very late in the game.
Ace is perplexed. The man is confused. Very perplexed, apparently. The man's truly stunned into silence, ladies and gents. That's the world first for you. But let's look at what else happens on the downstairs. You can see Envy's actually now playing on the upstairs with those impacts in back pocket. I imagine to make some quick rotates back to site if required, or just to dial himself back into a much more comfortable position. We'll see what the use case for those is. I'm eyeing up the 3 C4s, though, here, Race. For Nova, Harper, and Static. All three of those in back pocket. They're waiting for those more for plant denial than anything else, I imagine. Of course, standard old denial of downstairs supply. Throw it over the top of the little bookcase or shelving. It catches the players planting in default. You can get yourself 2 or 3 kills quite comfortably as long as you time it just right. But it looks like it's going to be a south side push coming out for CYCLOPS here. They've got 2 pushing down Laundry, 3 or so pushing down Freezer as well. They're really going in here. It's a rush. They've left the guy upstairs in the dirt and said, eat my dust, old man. Harper's now holding him up with the shotgun, but there's 2 trying to push the thing down Freezer. Not quite going to happen as they're now being butchered on the site. 2 fall, Nova and Shile striking big. They find a third. They're making a 4th as well. Shile has cleaned house in the corridor with a 3K, and Harper closes the round out. It looked like CYCLOPS had caught Cloud9 with their pants down for a second, but not to be the case.
Absolutely not. They had them up belt and braces today, Des. They were able to lock that one up, fully prepared, and it's no surprise. They used the freezer push themselves. Of course, they're going to be prepared for it, and Cloud9 able to just shut down CYCLOPS at every single turn there. It did look for a second when Hibana and Ash just raced into freezer and shut Static down like it could be a CYCLOPS round, but no, Cloud9, they reacted well. They weren't shocked by the sting of that punch lashing into their mouth. No, they came back with a haymaker of their own and took CYCLOPS clean off their feet.
I've got to give a shout out to Shile, by the way, a player that this stage has been really quiet. And arguably, you know, part of the reason why some of Cloud9's performances have looked a little bit shaky at points. Last year, it was the Envy Taylor and Shile show. They were leagues above any other duo inside of the whole competition. Even amongst their own team, they were just leagues ahead. And thankfully, they've had Nova step up and do a lot of work in the support role. But I've always been wondering, when are we going to see Charles wake up again? Apparently, he saved his best time to wake up and show us what he's made of once he gets towards the last game of the season, the one that arguably matters the most for seeding. That's when he's stepping up and making himself heard, and it's great to see.
Well, it's perfect timing. Absolutely no two ways about it. This is when Cloud9 need a big performance. You know, let's not forget, this is not just about the top spot here in APAC North. It's about those additional SI points in the global standings that will be secured as well. You know, the minimum, Hap explained it on the last play day, the minimum that can be achieved based on top spot and second is different. So it really is valuable here for an extra couple of hundred of those points. So Cloud9, they are desperate, I'm sure, to get this one closed out. They've got themselves on the defense. They must be feeling very, very positive right now. But here we go. Anaton is bringing the Montagna. We've seen him do great work with it before, and great work being done by Gatorada as he shuts down Static with a very quick headshot there. That is the Valkyrie gone. Going to be locking into those cams, I'm certain, and feeding information back in. But there is still a Monty to be dealt with, and there is a Nitro gone from the board as well. That leaves only Shio with an option of really dealing with this Monty. Envy, of course, has got the impact nades, but they aren't always too impactful against the big shieldy boy.
Now, you stole the point away from me. So I was going to say, she actually had impacts again. So there were 2 impacts on Static. You can see at the top of your screen, thanks to the new utility indicators that we've got. And I was going to say, the Pokeballs are good, but are they really going to be impactful enough to stop a Monty? We won't find out now because they've been removed from the board. There are still 2 remaining on the Wamai. There is still the C4 here for Charles as well. And they've got smokes to play behind. They do have tools to kind of deal with the Monty. But if Anaton plays this smart, he can burn through that utility. No questions asked. My big question is, where is he pushing? Is it going to be game or is it going to be at white? I think it's going to be at white given he's on the west side of the map. But you never know what might change.
Harper locked in kitchen at the minute and being closed down from all around. Black Ray on the book, looking to get in there. Harper's going to dip out through security, look to maybe drop the hatch and rotate away. Wants to challenge. He takes some shots on the fadeaway there, but doesn't hit anything but metal. He's going to move himself under the map here, and I'm sure that they are aware of it. Yes, they are. Harper locked down Gatorada on the rotation there. Great play to shut down the Ella, and that now leaves us 3 versus 4. Cloud9 just doing themselves a favour and bringing themselves back into this one.
Great pinch and communication. You've also got Black Ray still playing downstairs, making Nova as uncomfortable as can be. And there we go. The long shot comes in onto Gatorada from Charles to at least get a bit more breathing room. But now you've got to start thinking about the plan. iGator's got it in hand. Nova's still holding inside a kit, and you've got Charles coming in from Trophy. It's a really weird reverse kind of attack here where they're using Trophy against them. But now Nova's down 2 with those smokes in hand. There's 30 seconds to go. And this is where Anaton should be marching at Charles and saying, your number's up, buddy. It's time to hit the deck. And that looks like it's exactly what he's going to do here. This C4 is so crucial. It comes out, but it does does no damage. Anderson even wants the 1 versus 1 for a second, it looks like. Not going to be able to find anything as the plant goes down elsewhere. And I think it's Child trying to play the dancing game. He's been blocked out, been denied. He's saying, sorry, mate, you haven't paid your hotel tax tonight. You're not allowed to stay in the dorms with us. This is our zone. Back you go and into Master. He's going to have to dial away. This should pull things back up 8-4 apiece. And my God, if this game isn't staying close.
Anaton's response there was amazing, Des. His reaction speed. He was locked into a battle with Shiol. They were trying to melee each other, trying to get the shots. And as soon as Shiol stepped foot into Trophy, that was it. The Monty shield just came back up full and into the doorway. I'm not getting involved in any further fighting. I'm locking myself down. The diffuser is counting down right now. Shiol can do nothing about it. He is completely shut down. The quad kill is great for him. Anaton finishes him off with the pistol, but it will be nothing more than stat padding at this point because the diffuser was down, the time was out, and the round is won by Cyclops. Great attack from them and no real answer to that Monty push for Cloud9.
I mean, getting a 4K is impressive, but unfortunately, if it's at a top point where you can't win the round, you may as well have not got a single one at all. Unfortunate. Does now bring us to fall. Unfortunate for Cloud9, but for us, the viewer, absolutely not. It sits at 4 apiece. We're careering gently towards overtime here with some really entertaining back and forth rounds as well. The Monty is going to make a return once more as we go upstairs again. And here, a small change coming out with the Ella stepping in. And also, I think the Legion coming across for Static away from the Valkyrie. Anything they can use here just to deny the Monty and say, look, you can't press forward if you've got the Legion mines waiting for you or the Ella concussions ready to pop as soon as you step up the stairs. They're going full Monty denial here.
They've got to. They've got to. They've seen the problems that it gave them last time. I mean, the only step further they could really have gone was to bring the Clash along so that you've got that direct electricity counter that also uses the shield break function on Monty as well to just force his shield away from his face and double team up potentially. But they choose not to go quite that far. They are happy that the Goo mines and the Ella Gersmot mines should be sufficient to hold him at bay. And then Nova, of course, with those Toxic Babe canisters. And it was unfortunate for Cloud9. They did manage to hold Anaton out there. We saw him have a little bit of hesitance getting off those white stairs, but as soon as he knew that Shiol was alone, that was it. He was in and away to the races, and it was a great little battle with the Monty there, able to then lock Shiol out into Trophy, and it meant that all his teammates had to do was just hold down the rotation through the breach, which they themselves had made. So round 9, we are heading back upstairs once again. Very similar defense coming out from Cloud9 here, other than that adjustment of the Legion. So really the key point to watch out for this round is how impactful can Anaton be on the Monty?
Always the big question, and you can kind of see the reliance on the impacts here a little. It's why I'm kind of surprised actually, because Static has burnt both of his. Normally it is for the denial of the breach on the game wall, but here he's used both, so you're going to need Envy to play in that position instead, but he's also playing on the Wamai with the Magnet, so needs to be somewhere more contested, attic normally where you think of, so not 100% sure of the game plan there, but we'll see how things do start to play out. The Monty, I imagine, will probably go for the same approach again towards white. It worked so well last time, why change it up? And just look to take control of server so you can't get flanked, then push up white. Look to maybe secure a plant through big window. There are so many options to play with here, I think, for Cyclops, that it's going to be on Cloud9 to take the onus to do something magic to shut this down before it can get underway.
Gatterada looking to apply some early pressure from the game's window there. Won't have any joy, needs to dip away as shots rain back towards him. Anaton just being slowed down by those Goo mines. That's exactly what we wanted to see. Static able to catch him out on the white stairs there and just do him a fraction of damage. They don't do any more damage on impact. That was before the Legion nerf, so being hit by the Goo mine is enough only to slow you down, prevent you from running, but if you leave it tick after tick, it will do damage. No damage done from that nade, but very, very close. Sorry, Shiol actually taking a considerable amount of damage there and just being really pressured on the Mozzie. Harper shuts down Suzuki, 5 versus 4. And Anaton, he needs to get moving here.
They haven't secured security, so you're going to get flanked up Zulu, you're going to get pushed from Kitchen potentially. There's so many angles that Cloud9 can play this disruption game on. Had they got the opening kill onto Shiol, different story. Maybe you feel you can then aggress because the bed area is clear. In this case, it is not, and Shiol getting yet another kill coming out. They've pretty much shut this one down before, again, it could really materialize into anything. All that's then left is Cyclops desperately trying to find an angle of attack here they can make work for them. Oh, but peeks out and gets shot by the Monty from downstairs, only being a shot from death. It was going to be over. finds a second with another tap, this time not onto the head. In fact, neither of them on the head, just onto low health members of the enemy team. But MB waits for Gatto to swing through game. Anaton's all alone. This is where it becomes bully the Monty or catch the Snorlax, whatever you want to call it. Pokeballs came raining out, but in a 3 versus 1, I don't see our shield-bearing maiden doing anything else here.
17 seconds left to go, then Anaton's likely to just hold this angle. Tries to, but shut down with a headshot from MB Taylor from the kids' dorms right across to the white stairs. And that is Cloud9 coming back into it, taking themselves the lead once again. And this game is back and forward right now. There is absolutely no predicting still who is going to take. Let's not forget, this one is for the top spot here in APAC North. Bragging rights, SI points, everything is on the line between these two, and they are giving it everything right now. It's going to be CYCLOPS calling their tactical timeout as they decide it's time to slow things down a little.
Have a bit of a breather, I think, because now it feels like, well, we switched over to the Monty as kind of a crux, and it worked once. Now Cloud9 have realised that playing this disruptive game plan by getting underneath us and stopping us getting a really solid backline to support the Monty up front is going to hurt us. So what do we do? What do we change here to deal with this? Otherwise, Cloud9 are going to start running away with it. We said how close it was. Obviously, now it's at 5-4 to Cloud9. You're 1 point away from being guaranteed to go to overtime or Cloud9 potentially taking the victory. You don't want to be in that spot of Cyclops. You don't want that pressure. You want to figure it out now while you've still got time to course correct.
That's right. They want to avoid any further mistakes at all here. They just want to get themselves that opportunity, that guaranteed overtime before Cloud9 can get there. But it's not looking easy at the minute because Cloud9, they are reacting well to what is being put in front of them and they are shutting things down. They're going to go down to Laundry once again. And I mean, we all remember how that went in round 7. It was Cloud9 through and through. CYCLOPS were able to open things up with a kill from Gatorada to Static inside of Breezer. But that was basically all they got out of the round because Cloud9 just came down on them like a ton of bricks.
And now they've got to dance around the mirror and the clash combo as well as a warden in case there's any craziness that comes out with smoke plants. They've come prepared, Cloud9 here. Like, it doesn't matter what you throw at them, you've got to deal with the mirror windows and the clash. That's not fun. And you're trying to push too aggressively, there's an Elo waiting. And of course, the Wamai that we spoke about all day long, saying, well, all game long, saying that it's got to be here every round given the Jaeger ban. The Nook on the other side, I'm really excited to see because this is what I thought we would see more of in this game. More frags being brought along, you bring along enough flashes or smokes to burn through any of the magnets, and then you go absolutely ham with those 4 frags that you can collect kills for basically free around the map. Keen to see how they make use of them and if they catch anyone. If not, you're asking that question of, well, why 4 nades then?
Certainly one to watch out for in this round is Black Ray, just to see exactly how he can get in and what impact he can have. Of course, Nock able to hide her presence from any sort of visual cams, whether they be Black Eye, whether they be default cams, drones, anything really that would be able to see the Nock. Her digital visual signature will be removed. Much like Vigil, in a way. It does glitch out if she runs, and it is time limited, but she's also just very stealthy, very quiet footfalls, very, very able to sneak up on defenders and get kills. So I'd like to see some aggression out of Black Ray on that operator to really take full advantage of what she can bring to the table.
Well, at least early on, no crazy aggression coming out of Cloud9 to try and put a dent in Cyclops, maybe realizing there is no Monty on the field here. There's only to go 2 ham for it. And for Cyclops, it looks like it's going to be another approach coming in from the Freezer side, which we've seen a little mix so far today. We saw in the previous time round when it was Cyclops the ones on defense, they managed to shut down Cloud9 in emphatic fashion. But outside of that, it depends what they're going to do to deal with the changes that are coming in from Cloud9, namely that clash that we can see hanging around the pillar area. Expect to see that swing across in towards blue to help contest construction as well. Just gives a little bit more, not so much reinforcement, although I guess that's maybe not a bad word to use, more backup, dare I say, to those that are playing in the area, knowing full well that Imtel is free while sat behind that clash shield.
Nova well aware of the man at the bottom of Laundry Stairs, and it's always a difficult one trying to peek onto a mirror window, so Black Ray will dip away from that challenge for the time being. Now Anaton, he hits the deck and he tries to just scroll in there on his belly like a snake. Out comes the nade and off it goes, just looking to clear a line of sight in that freezer wall through to the shield. Will clear out the utility as well. I think the first nade might have just caught on a little snag before sailing through, but he does manage to clear out that deployment deployable shield, so that is good progress. So I think it was actually maybe just giving him the angle there. Envy Taylor, it will be to find the headshot onto Suzuki to start us off once again. And this looks like it's going all in the same direction as round 7. Des CYCLOPS have done good work, got themselves into positions, but are unable to really take any dividends out of it. They can't find any benefit in their positions here, and Static is just marching around the site on that clash at the minute and just preventing any push from coming in.
It's really good preparedness by CYCLOPS, and in case you're wondering what that small 2 Habana pellet hole was on the right-hand side of the freezer wall, it's to stop anyone playing next to the bomb in that back corner. The power spot that we've seen players like Shaiko do so much from, but BlackRay's found his own power spot, pushing him from the north side, shuts down 2, and then he's greeted by a Clash who's holding in a corner. He's about to get bullied inside the site here, I'm sure, but they're swinging for a kill. They find the 1. The plant's going down, but Nova's managed to get there. The Clash wasting enough time. They couldn't get back in time because of the slowdown coming out of the Clash. What an excellent ending play by Cloud9 to put themselves at match point. CYCLOPS now at a point where they're starting to ask, goddamn guys, we've got to find 2 rounds from somewhere, when we struggle to do that basically at all here in the second half.
Cloud9 there just saying, you are not getting away with this one, BlackRay, as he moves down the stairs, finds himself 2, and just really fires some energy in the round for CYCLOPS, but it was down to Nova to move easily through the corridor, shut down the plant, and it was all down to the timer at the end of things. It was not possible for CYCLOPS to really get in there and make the impact they needed in the time that was available to them. So we're going to be heading now for what could be our potential last round here, but I wouldn't count on it just yet. We're going to meeting the tertiary site for Cloud9. They're going to have to try and hold this one down. We haven't seen them attempt it yet, so surely this is CYCLOPS' opportunity to get in here and apply some pressure to Cloud9.
That last round perplexed me. I'm going to have to watch it back later, because they had 3 in supply, 3 versus 1 on a Clash, and 1 opted to chase Nova down into Laundry, just in case he was trying to go for that flank play that we saw. They didn't kill the Clash, because 1 had to back away and go for the plant. The other one, I think, resorted to try and play and hold the longer angle. And before they could catch up to Nova, they were being slowed down by the Clash. So it was just like a really weird, almost a spot where you should be winning as the attackers, but the way that they played it, the kind of time really stepping in as the 3rd defensive man there to make it, dare I say, a 3 versus 3, really played in the favor of Cloud9 and just put them in the spot where they could potentially win here and now. But you mentioned about a stepping into meeting. I always love referring to meeting as kind of no man's land. It can be really hard to play in there unless you're playing like a snake on top of the hatch, just kind of crawling in front of the stage. But for everyone else, you have to play in split, you play inside a kitchen. There's so much to consider.
BlackRay gets Shiol to start things off. Suzuki doubles down onto Nova, and this right now is CYCLOPS answering back, Des. We could get the overtime that we want. We could get the real race to the finish post here, but what a shot from Harper. Long-range headshot onto Hayagator. Sit down. Takes him out by the white van and leaves us 4 versus 3, and I dare say we might just see a little bit of a lull here after that explosive start.
Yeah, I imagine now that it's kind of struck back and it isn't a 3 versus 5, they found the Ash. Okay, not the most impactful one to collect here, but it's something. This is where Cloud9 can dial back and play a little more defensive, find out what it is that CYCLOPS are looking to do. I'm already looking here at BlackRay, for example, with no more phone calls left and thinking, man, they would be really useful right about now. But they consumed all of them so early in the round. And there's Envy holding a pixel angle onto Gatto, brings it down to a 3 versus 3. And suddenly, Ace, all things are equal. Now it's Cloud9. That's 3 kills back to back that we've seen Cloud9 pick up in response.
You really thought that Cloud9 might have been rocked by that early start, but absolutely not. And it's all down to Anaton. He's got about 35 health and he's got 2 kills to find. He has time on his side. That is an important factor. He's got 1 drone in pocket, so he could try to find some information here. Instead, he takes the challenge, misses the shots, and allows the man to escape, who comes back to bite him and bite him hard as Cloud9 take not only the win on Oregon here, they give us the thumbs up because they are up, Des. They are up at the top of the table, and that is where they will finish APAC North. That is our #1 team heading into Stage 2.
Wow, not even just Stage 2, but of course you've got the playoffs before that to think about as well. Like, that was a lightning performance, one that we thought might be a bit closer. Absolutely not to be the case. They were dominant from, dare I say, start to finish, and sure, a good few rounds coming out for CYCLOPS, but we are reminded once again that with Giants departed